You've probably driven past a row of parked semis at a rest stop and not thought twice about it. But have you ever watched a long-haul trucker on his 10th hour, eyes red, legally minutes from being forced to stop, deliberately pass an exit with a perfectly good rest area on it? No mechanical issue, no detour. He just drives by, then drives another 40 miles to a different exit that, from the outside, looks worse. Slower fuel pumps, smaller lot. He pulls in there, parks, locks his cab, and sleeps. Why? It's not because the first rest area had dirty bathrooms. The answer is something the FBI has been quietly mapping for over 20 years. Something connected to $454 million in stolen American goods last year alone, and to a federal law named after a truck driver murdered in his sleep for $7. And it connects to something sitting in your refrigerator right now. There are roughly 3 million tractor trailers on American roads. There are about 313,000 truck parking spaces. The math is brutal. The consequences are worse, and the answer has at least 5 layers. Most people only ever hear the first one, but let's start with what everyone gets wrong. The obvious answer is the one most people land on. Some rest areas are dangerous because there is theft. Trucks get broken into. Cargo gets stolen. Drivers learn to avoid the bad ones. It is true. But the theft you are imagining and the theft actually happening are not the same thing. Take Love's travel stop, Interstate 40, exit 280 in West Memphis, Arkansas. To a passing motorist, it looks like every other Love's. To anyone who has driven freight for more than a year, that exit has a different label entirely. The Southeast Transportation Security Council flags any truck stop with 3 or more cargo thefts in a rolling 12-month window. Love's exit 280 has been on that list. So has the Pilot at Interstate 80, exit 6 in Gary, Indiana. So has the Petro at Interstate 55, exit 45 in Jackson, Mississippi. There is a list, and the drivers know it. But here's what changes the picture. The FBI Memphis cargo theft. Task Force documents that the Memphis region averages 1 cargo theft every single day of the year. Shelby County alone accounts for roughly 70% of all cargo theft in the entire state of Tennessee. And the I-40 corridor, running west out of Memphis, has its own technique. Industry security firm FreightWatch documented active shopping crews working I-40 between West Memphis and Forest City. They break trailer seals, inspect cargo, take only the valuable items, and disappear. By the time the driver wakes up, the trailer looks intact. But that's not even the real problem. If the only issue were stolen cargo, that would be a financial crime. The real reason veteran drivers avoid these corridors isn't what's being stolen. It's what's been happening to the people who park there. And that is what the FBI has been quietly mapping for 2 decades. In 2004, analysts at the FBI Violent Criminal Apprehension Program, VICAP, were going through unsolved homicide cases when they noticed something they could not unsee. Bodies of women were being found along one specific stretch of American highway. Different jurisdictions, different states, no obvious connection between victims. But the road kept appearing. Interstate 40, running through Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, and Mississippi. That observation became the Highway Serial Killings Initiative. Today, the FBI database tracks more than 750 murder victims found along American highways. Former FBI Assistant Director Frank Figliuzzi, who spent 25 years at the Bureau and rode 2,000 miles in a flatbed to research the subculture, estimates roughly 850 such murders since 1980, with about 200 still unsolved. 25 long-haul truckers are currently sitting in American prisons for multiple murders. And this connects to the price you paid for groceries this week. We will get there. The reason this is so hard to investigate is structural. Figliuzzi describes a long-haul rig as a mobile crime scene. A predator can pick up a victim in one jurisdiction, kill them in a second, and dump the body in a third, all in a single shift. Local detectives may have no forensic evidence and no way of knowing the same offender has done it before. Robert Ben Rhodes, known as the truck stop killer, long-haul driver from Houston, active approximately from 1975 to 1990, suspected of up to 50 victims. His arrest happened on April 1st, 1990, when an Arizona Highway Patrol trooper stopped to check on a tractor trailer parked on the shoulder of Interstate 10 with its hazard lights on. Inside the cab, chained to the door, was a young woman, naked and gagged, alive. Rhodes had converted his sleeper berth into a mobile torture chamber and had been operating it cross-country for 15 years. One of his confirmed victims, Regina Walters, was 14 years old. But Rhodes was not an outlier. He was a template. The dots on the national map from the FBI cluster, and the clusters line up with specific exit ramps. Veteran drivers do not see those maps. They have heard the stories on the CB. They know which lots have had drivers found dead in their cabs, and they know where the women who never came back were last seen alive. They drive past those exits. But here's where it gets genuinely strange. The rest stops aren't where this story starts. They're where it ends. American rest areas were never designed to be sleeping zones. The first opened in Michigan in 1929. The 1950s and the 1960s expansion built short stop facilities. Pee, stretch, drive on. Sleeper cabs were rare. The Department of Transportation figures from that era assumed drivers would sleep in motels or at home, but the freight industry exploded. Federal hours of service rules tightened. Drivers can now legally drive only 11 hours, then must take a mandatory 10-hour rest. The clock is federal law, and the clock is the trap. Rest areas did not expand at the same rate. According to the American Trucking Associations and OOIDA, 3 million tractor trailers now compete for roughly 313,000 parking spaces nationwide. That is one parking spot for every 11 drivers. Drivers spend an average of 56 minutes a day searching for legal parking, a hidden pay cut of $4,600 to $5,600 per driver per year. The Federal Highway Administration estimates 98% of drivers regularly struggle to find a safe place to stop. That's not just inconvenient. That's the architecture of why dangerous parking spots exist. When the system fails to provide safe rest, drivers improvise. And improvised parking is where predators wait. The case that proved it has a name. March 5th, 2009. Jason Rivenberg, 35 years old, a long-haul driver from upstate New York. His wife was pregnant with twins. He arrived early for a Food Lion delivery in South Carolina. The store would not let him wait on their property. No rest area was open nearby. He pulled into an abandoned gas station near Interstate 26, exit 136, called his wife, hung up, and went to sleep in his cab. A man named Willie Pelzer III crossed the highway, climbed under Jason's trailer, waited, and shot him through the cab window. The take was $7. Jason's Law passed in 2012. Between 2022 and 2024, the U.S. Department of Transportation awarded roughly $752 million in grants for truck parking. The 1-to-11 ratio has not moved. The abandoned lots, the unlit shoulders, and the documented dangerous rest areas are still where exhausted drivers end up, because the math leaves them no other choice. The pattern is not local. The Petro on Interstate 285, southwest of Atlanta, has been flagged for years as an armed robbery hotspot. The Phillips 66 at Interstate 70, exit 75, in Indianapolis is on the SETS-C list. Madco Truck Plaza off Interstate 94, exit 200, in Romulus, Michigan is on the same list. In Texas, the viral driver compiled Do Not Stop list includes Love's number 927 in Irving, Flying J number 1057 in Pasadena, and Petro number 6305 at Interstate 10, exit 581, in San Antonio. In 2024, North America recorded 3,625 cargo theft incidents, the highest ever measured, a 27% increase over 2023. Total estimated loss value reached $454.9 million. 3 states absorbed 46% of all of it: California, Texas, and Illinois. Dallas County was up 78% in a single year. Illinois first quarter 2024 was up 126% over first quarter 2023. The total economic toll of cargo theft in the U.S. is somewhere between $15 billion and $35 billion annually. Here's the part you have been brushing up against your whole life without knowing it. The targeted commodities in 2024 read like the contents of your last grocery run: copper, electronics, avocados, nuts, cosmetics, vitamins, protein powder. A trailer full of avocados disappeared in Texas without a trace. 100,000 eggs were stolen from a single trailer in Pennsylvania during a national egg shortage. Whatever you paid for groceries last week absorbed a piece of $454.9 million in losses. And cargo is not even the worst exposure. The U.S. Department of Transportation's Truckers Against Trafficking initiative has trained over 2 million drivers, and their reports have helped identify more than 1,000 human trafficking victims. The 2021 National Outreach Survey found 81% of trafficking survivors used transportation during their recruitment. Truck stops appear in the data as primary recruitment and transit nodes. So here's where you actually land. That trucker who passed the exit was not being paranoid. He was reading a map you do not have access to, built from FBI VICAP body dump data, the Southeast Transportation Security Council high-risk truck stop list, CargoNet incident logs, and 20 years of CB radio stories about drivers found dead in their cabs. Layered on top is a federal clock giving him 11 hours to drive, 10 hours of mandatory rest, and 1 parking space for every 11 drivers competing for it. Therefore, he does not gamble on the documented exits. He drives the extra 47 miles. You pulled into that rest area thinking you were looking at a row of parked trucks. What you were actually looking at was the visible surface of a 70-year-old infrastructure failure, an FBI database with 750 victims plotted on it, $454 million in stolen American goods last year alone, a federal law named after a man murdered for $7, and a national parking shortage that pushes exhausted drivers into the exact spots where predators wait. You are not just looking at trucks at a rest area. You are looking at the most quietly cataloged, most expensive, most dangerous routing decision in American freight. And every avocado on your toast, every vitamin in your cabinet, every package on your porch arrived because someone made that decision correctly the night before. And if you think the rest areas truckers avoid are unsettling, wait until we get into the 4 American highways the FBI has quietly mapped as the most active body dump corridors in the country, and the one most drivers do not even realize they are driving on.